Welcome everyone to episode 139 of EDH Commander Challenge. I'm your host, BT. And today we begin our journey to crown our second ever EDHCC Undisputed Champion, as 8 amazing players are set to do battle in this one-round single elimination style tournament. Where before this summer comes to an end and the dust is settled, one player will emerge as the winner and the champion of champions. To kick things off in grand fashion, we'll have our returning champion, Gregory, against the heavily skilled deck builder, Jason. Will Greg start his climb to retaining his title? Or will Jason knock him off his perch and guarantee us that a new champion will be crowned? Also, don't forget, if our subscriber count reaches 1,700 before the end of the tournament, I'll be doing another giveaway. So if you like free custom sleeves, or possibly a new playmat, perhaps a foil rare or mythic rare, make sure you smash that subscribe button. But now, let's begin the festivities and check out those opening hands. First, in this corner, with an opening hand of Breeding Pool, Gemstone Caverns, Mana Confluence, Demonic Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, Goblin Bombardment, Birds of Paradise, and his WUBRG-style General, The First Sliver. He is our reigning, defending, EDHCC Undisputed Champion. This is Gregory. And in this corner, with an opening hand of Marsh Flats, Windswept Heat, Reflecting Pool, Vampiric Tutor, Entomb, Farseek, Sylvan Library, and his Partner Commanders Thrasios Triton Hero, and Tymna the Weaver. He is the deck-building Dark Ritualist. This is Jason. Greg won the dice roll to start us off. Let's begin the tournament and our first tournament-style card fight of 2020. For their first turns, Greg plays Mana Confluence and casts Vampiric Tutor, paying 3 life total to place a card from his deck to the top of it. Jason plays and sacks Polluted Delta, paying 1 life to grab an Underground Sea from his deck into play, and Shortcuts, saying that he'll also be casting Vampiric Tutor, paying 2 life to tutor a card to the top of his deck as well. Greg plays Gemstone Caverns and casts Manipulate Fate, paying 1 life to his Confluence. This allows him to exile 3 cards from his deck, which in this case are Mist Hollow Griffin, Eternal Scourge, and Extract. Then he draws a card and passes. Jason plays and sacks his Windswept Heath, paying 1 life to place a Bayou from his deck into play. Then he casts Sylvan Library and passes. Greg plays an untapped Watery Grave and casts both Deathrite Shaman and Demonic Tutor, losing 3 life total, and Shortcuts, passing to Jason while he tutors a card from his deck to his hand. Jason keeps both of his extra cards he's drawn from his Sylvan Library, paying 8 life. Then he plays Marsh Flats and passes. Greg plays an untapped Breeding Pool, paying 2 life, and casts Birds of Paradise. And before he passes, Jason sacks his flats, paying 1 life, to grab a Temple Garden from his deck into play tapped. Jason once again keeps both of his extra cards from his Sylvan Library, paying 8 life. First he plays Reflecting Pool, Then he casts both Mana Crypt and Soul Ring. Then he finally casts a Fauna Shaman before passing. During his end step, Greg uses his Shaman to exile Jason's Vampiric Tutor from his graveyard and deal him 2 damage. Greg turns up the volume this turn and casts his beloved Food Chain. Then he taps out, paying 1 life to his Confluence, and sacks his birds to his Food Chain for a total of 4 mana to go for game and cast Miss Hollow Griffin. But before it comes into play, Jason casts Abrupt Decay to destroy the Food Chain and prevent Greg's combo. With that, Greg is forced to pass. Jason only keeps 1 of the extra cards from his library this time and pays 4 life. We remind him of his Crypt trigger, which he calls correctly, taking no damage. Then he plays his own copy of Mana Confluence, which he uses, paying 1 life to tap it for a white mana, to cast Swords to Plowshares on the Deathrite Shaman, which gets exiled, and Greg gains 1 life. Next, Jason casts Farseek to grab Overgrown Tomb from his deck into play tapped before passing. In this game of clear one-upsmanship, Greg casts his masterpiece Mana Crypt. Hashtag so many foils I can't afford. Followed by Eternal Scourge from exile, like he casted his Miss Hollow Griffin from their last turn. Then he moves into combat and attacks Jason with the Griffin for 3 damage, and passes. During the end step, Jason casts his Invocation Rare Entomb to place Eternal Witness from his deck to the graveyard. During his upkeep, Jason once again calls his Crypt roll correctly and takes no damage. He also keeps no extra cards from his library due to his low life total. He plays Volrat's Stronghold and casts Sun Titan. With its trigger, he returns Eternal Witness that he entombed last turn into play. And with its trigger, he returns his Swords to Plowshares from his graveyard to his hand. Finally, he casts one of his generals, Thrasios, and passes the turn. During his upkeep, Greg calls his Crypt roll correctly and takes no damage. Then he casts Noble Hierarch. Then he moves into combat to attack Jason with the Griffin, which now gets a +1/+1 boost thanks to the Exalted from the Hierarch. Jason casts his Swords to exile it, taking 1 damage from his Mana Confluence, but Greg counters that with Dispel. And thus Jason takes 4 points of combat damage before Greg passes. During his upkeep, Jason rolls for his Crypt, but sadly calls it incorrectly this time, taking 3 damage and placing him at death's door. As a result, he can't keep any extra cards from his library, and his Confluence is no longer usable. He uses his general's ability to scry his top card to the bottom, and then reveal his top card, which is his own copy of Breeding Pool, which goes into play tapped. He tries again looking for an answer, and scries his top card to the bottom again, and ironically this time reveals Ancient Tomb, which goes to play. Out of options and resources, Jason surrenders to Greg, keeping Greg's chance to retain his title alive.
You win.
No one can doubt that Sylvan Library is one of the greatest green draw power cards in the game. And while it helped Jason to crush Greg's Food Chain combo, it was responsible for taking half of his life total away. It's too bad that Jason didn't have some form of life gain to keep him going, as he seemed like he was on the verge of stabilizing and then being able to make a comeback. Greg isn't the champ for nothing. While he hasn't made it to the top of the mountain just yet, he had a fast and strong showing here. Greg is living proof that if a plan A fails, there's always a plan B. And while he may not be super happy with having to go beat down with his Mistala Griffin, it was enough for him to take the win and avoid elimination in the first round. Who were their picks? Let us know in the comments down below. Also, if you enjoy our content, consider becoming a patron. Give you access to some sweet bonuses while helping out the channel at the same time. Please continue to support us on our journey to 2,000 family members. Thanks everyone, and to my friends in the US, happy belated Independence Day. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you're a fan of EDH gameplay and you like whether it be 1v1 or multiplayer and you want to be part of the ever-growing Commander Challenge family, just make sure you smash the subscribe button and notification bell down below. We do weekly videos. Don't forget as well to like, comment, share our videos, but most importantly, enjoy them. On behalf of all of our members here, I'm your host, BT. Feel free to check out all of the videos in the channel, join our game, it's now your turn. Cheers!